Earlier this month, Ubisoft sent out a tweet acknowledging under the Rainbow Six Siege account. They sent out a tweet acknowledging that Ubisoft, will be paying attention to Mental Health Awareness Month, specifically for men. June is Men's Mental Health Month. If you want to, if you see a friend who's down, go ahead and offer to play a game with them, because guys suffer too, often in silence, and hey, nobody actually cares about the plight of a man because you're never going to be properly acknowledged for the sacrifices that you made, because men are designed and men are required to perform. That's another topic and something we can discuss at a later date, because it has nothing to do with what Ubisoft thinks behind the scenes, because for as much as they'll go ahead and put out a very different public-facing persona, a la Ben Shapiro and Hillary Clinton, they hold something a little bit nearer and dearer to their heart in a private setting, because this is just simply the classic example. Right? I don't think that it's anywhere different to anything else, for as much as the likes of Marvel or Disney en masse will tell you that, or you'll just hear it leaked. Okay. Oh yeah, they're trying to fire the activists. They're trying to, course correct. They just really want to get back to removing politics, and they just want to be apolitical with their messaging moving forward. The people that still work at those places are still activists. They're still ideologues. They're still pushing an agenda. And this is actually what they really think. They'll go out there and they'll try to get some attention. They'll go ahead and, throw out a couple of lures, but if you want to take the bait, you're just going to get driven down and you're going to get dragged into the deep waters once again, because this is exactly what those subversionists do. That's why when I talked about this back in the day, a couple weeks ago or a week ago, probably would have been a week ago, because it would have been the first week of June. So, you can go ahead and apply as appropriate. I was like, yeah, it's all nice and well and good, but A, you're not addressing men's mental health appropriately, and B, I think that you're a liar. But let's go with this, because leaked emails suggest that Ubisoft continues to support Pride behind the scenes despite men's mental health posts. Because of course, man. It's Ubisoft after all. They drove their brand into the ground over years. We have seen their development team. Okay, we went from the original team. Okay, hey, yeah, take a look at the guys and gals that were working on Assassin's Creed in 2006. Now look at the development team for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Can you spot the difference? Yeah, exactly. One looks like, a sweaty, greasy group of autistic kids, and the other one, kind of smells like an open-air fish market. Just days after Ubisoft drew attention for publicly recognizing June as Men's Mental Health Awareness Month via a post from the Rainbow Six Siege X account, a new leak suggests that the company may be continuing its usual Pride Month initiatives behind the scenes. June 4th, gaming YouTuber Endymion, a content creator, previously shared information from Ubisoft's Insider, posted the following. Just got sent this from Ubisoft Insider. They're still pushing Pride Month stuff internally, and allegedly Ubisoft still hasn't shown any internal help or posts about mental health or Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. If true, this sucks. But do with this what you will. So that Rainbow Six Siege post, to the extent of their support. Oh, okay, yeah, so was that the extent of their support? Yeah, it's like all of this corporate approved bullshit. It's always surface level. Okay, it's just like any other activism that's out there. It's always, okay, cool, will this appeal to a certain group? Yeah, just go ahead and push it out there. They'll pay lip service to it. But when the rubber hits the road, or in the case of Pride Month, when the rubber hits the asshole, they're nowhere to be seen. Attached to the post was a screenshot of what appears to be an internal Ubisoft communication referencing Pride Month, though the document's authenticity has not been independently verified. The document celebrates the achievements of the Pride community and continues that Proud, Ubisoft's employees resource group, is still going to be strong and placing a specific focus on individuals who identify with a gender that differs. So a bunch of trans freaks that are about to get fired by Tencent. It urges employees to respect and share pronouns, join Proud, and read materials such as guides on how to be an ally. And it's going to be so funny out of Ubisoft. Well, if you don't want to adhere to any of our activist policies, what are you going to do? Quit? What are you going to do? Form your own game studio and create one of the most successful indie games in a generation? What are you going to do? The internal messaging also states that allyship isn't a passive label, it's an active commitment, and suggests that adding pronouns to Microsoft team profiles and visiting Ubisoft's Ally Effect site to affirm support. Notably, the document does not reference Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, which Ubisoft had previously highlighted, in its public Rainbow Six Siege social post. Because exactly, man, what did you expect? What did you expect from an activist company like Ubisoft? I thought there were be even more activism, okay? Like, I'm not shocked by this. Chances are you aren't shocked by this. I mean, you look at the people that are in charge of this stuff, and they're either A, incompetent, or B, dyed-in-the-wall ideologues that are willing to go down with this rainbow-colored ship. And it's always so funny. All of these people that preach tolerance and acceptance and, just decry all of the bigots that are out there that don't want to go along with the programming, always expose themselves to be the worst of humanity. Because Ubisoft, as all of this stuff is currently going on behind the scenes, is also going to court in a very public battle, and well, some interesting stuff is coming to light. Ubisoft trial witness testifies to being tied to a chair, or are they making a James Bond Casino Royale adaptation? Forced to do handstands. What? And subjected to constant comments about sex. Wow, look at that. Male feminists, allies, and all of the people on that degenerate LGBTQ plus 2IAARP spectrum, they're just all fucking freaks. Big shock. HR allegedly told one woman, don't make a big ting out of it. Well, yeah, of course, because none of them really have big tings when it's all said and done. Now, I know that this is going to be a case of he said, she said, but isn't it always funny how it's always the male feminists? Like, never fails, right? Never fails. Ubisoft developers have told a French court that former executives Serge Hascott, Tommy Francois, and Guillaume Petroucher allegedly perpetuated a systemic culture of sexism and abuse. Former chief creative officer Sergei Haskay, ex-VP of editorial and creative services Tommy Francois, both left the publisher in summer of 2020. Interesting, following allegations of widespread abuse, harassment, and discrimination within Ubisoft. Well, it sounds like they were quite inclusive as long as you were willing to do some degenerate shit, including claims against the two executives. Former director Guillaume Patru has similarly been accused of harassment and bullying. Oh my god, is that like a real charge? Bullying? Oh my god. And all five former executives from Ubisoft were arrested by French police in 2023 following a year-long investigation into SA and harassment within the company. All three defendants denied the charges. As reported by The Guardian, the trial, which began at the beginning of the month, has heard witnesses tell of feeling terrified and like pieces of meat with state prosecutor Antoine Haushalter, reporting overwhelming evidence of harassment. Oh, yes, okay. In 4 days of hearings, female former staff members, interesting. It always tends to work out that way. Variously described being tied to a chair, forced to do handstands, subjected to constant comments about sex and their bodies, having to endure sexist and homophobic jokes, drawings of penises being stuck to computers, a manager who farted in a worker's face. All right, now I'm starting to get on Ubisoft's side here. Or scribbled on women with marker pens, gave unsolicited shoulder massages, played pornos. What? Okay, an open plan office, and another executive who cracked a whip near people's heads, likening the culture to a boys' club. Yeah, that used to be the type of quote-unquote culture that would cultivate and create some of the greatest games ever made. But yeah, well, hey man, you invited them in. They probably said, oh no, yeah, I like a good joke. But then when a good joke comes around, now all of a sudden it's harassment. He was my superior and I was afraid of him. He made me do a handstand. I did it to get it over with and to get rid of him. I am sure you probably did that in your interview. It's like, yes, take a look at all of my talents that I can do. Can I program? Nope. But can I make three rolls of quarters disappear? You betcha. He's also accused of kissing a member of staff on the lips without consent at a Christmas party as his colleagues restrained her by the arms and back. While a different witness said that during a U.S. trip, he grabbed her by the hair and kissed her by force. No one present reacted or stopped him, and when she reported him to HR on her return, she was told not to make a big deal of it. Later, refute rumors that she'd caught snogging Francois, even though he knew it had been an assault. Oh my god. The woman reports these incidents that made her feel stupefied, humiliated, and professionally discredited. And you didn't quit? Francois denies all charges, claims that there was a culture of joking around at the studio, and insists I never tried to harm anyone. Hascott? Sure. Similarly accused of, sexual harassment, rather, and bullying. He reportedly told colleagues at an away day that one of the senior female colleagues did not have enough sex, and that he would show how to calm her by having sex with her in the next room. Okay. So he made a joke. Clap this man in irons. Now, he also alleged to have talked about sex at the office. Oh my God, bullied his assistants and made them undertake personal tasks during the workday. Well, were they personal assistants? Such as picking up parcels. Oh no, they said, hey, can you go down to the post office and get this because the team needs it? And they're like, oh my God, you're bullying me. And I'm like, why do you bring women into the workplace? The former executive denies all charges, saying, I have never wanted to harass anyone, and I don't think that I have. Petru was, yes, accused of sexual harassment and bullying, allegedly punched walls, mimed punching staff, playing with a cigarette lighter near workers' faces, setting alight a man's beard. Should have seen what he did to the one who did a handstand in the office and threatened to carry out an office shooting. Well, did he? Because that would have probably have made the news. He also reportedly cracked a whip in the face of his colleagues. After 4 days of hearings, the judge have retired to consider the evidence and reach a verdict. All three men deny the charges. And yeah, maybe by the time that you guys see this video, could have already gotten a verdict. By the time, yeah, it's a good chance that we would have already seen this. But honestly, I mean, whether or not they're convicted and whether or not any of this stuff actually happened, this is Ubisoft, man. This is what they do. They'll go ahead and profess virtuosity and allyship with one hand, but then at the other, it's a very different studio behind the scenes. Never trust your corporate friends or who purports to be your friends, because ultimately they're scumbags. Make good games. Stop being activists. And when it's all said and done, we just have a conversation about women in the workplace. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.